tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello. Welcome to the Constantine AFTERBUZZ After Show. I'm your host, Yael Tygiel. I've got a full panel today. We've got Tauri Miller.
Hey.
Isaac Johnson's with us.
What's going on?
We are talking about Season 1, Episode 4, A Feast of Friends.
Oh, yeah.
Yummy. I'm rocking out. Sorry. That was very exciting.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's okay to rock out here on the show.
Yeah.
We allow that and harpsichord, apparently. That's what that sounds like to me.
Okay. All right, let's get into it.
Bass.
Yeah.
It's so good. You know what? The full theme song is great.
Yeah.
I feel like the amount they show on the show is not enough.
I feel like it's not either. It's Bear McCreary?
Yeah, Bear McCreary.
Yeah, Bear McCreary.
Same guy who did the Battlestar Galactica.
Won like every show ever, pretty much,
Well,
right?
kinda, yeah. He's like the John Williams of TV.
He's the
Yeah,
Danny
pretty much.
Elfman of TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk
Danny
about.
Elfman did TV because he did the Simpsons
Yeah.
theme.
He's also in a great band.
As long as he's not the Philip Glass of TV.
Oh, Danny Elfman. Boingo. Let's talk about Zed for a moment.
Oh, let's talk
right.
about it.
In the park. Zed in the park is training with Constantine, and she sees coins.
Pennies
from heaven.
Yeah, like a song.
Yeah. And then Manny the Angel is there. This is the first of our 2 appearances of Manny the Angel this episode, and I want to talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
Because
4.
4.
He showed up 4 times.
Oh,
In this episode?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Of the 2 actual times that I want to talk about. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Nice. He is useless.
I have made this point once before.
I have a theory that he doesn't exist.
Okay.
I feel like he is a figment of John's
Constantine's
imagination. And I don't think it's not above the show to do something like that, but angels do exist, so it could be like, oh, he's an actual angel. But at the same time, every time he shows up, he affects nothing. He only interacts with John. And there's that moment where he's like, I'm not here. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, he did say that. I did kind of wonder, like, because neither Chaz nor Zed have had any interaction with him. This is
Right.
John's interaction with them. So I didn't think that he didn't exist, but I was wondering, like, when are they going to find out about him? But it's really interesting.
I like that theory. I like it a lot, actually.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Mind blown.
Yeah.
Hashtag mind blown.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Is there something you wanted to add?
There was, and then I forgot it. So.
Oh, okay. Because that distracted me. Yeah, go.
Well, have we? And sorry for being gone, everyone. I know you all missed me.
we did.
We did.
Thank you. Has time always stopped when he's entered before? I feel like this is the first I remember of.
He
this
stopped
happening.
time every time except for the first time we met him.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the last time we see him in this episode, he doesn't stop time again.
Yeah, that's true. Well, because when Constantine was on the table with Papa Smurf, what was his name?
Papa Midnight.
Papa Midnight.
Oh, with the homeless man.
Yeah, he didn't stop then, but he always appears as someone or something like that.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah, he didn't stop time then either, but he appeared as the homeless man, and he didn't stop time the first time we met him in the crater.
The crater, yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
and
we're
then
not,
again
we're
at
not
the
talking
end.
about Zed
At the
like
bar,
this.
yeah.
No, this is so much more interesting
this
and
is
at the
better.
bar.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Yeah. Maybe he
I
doesn't
want it
exist.
so bad.
Yeah. Well, so, we have this interaction with him, and he gives us no information, and he does nothing. He's like, I'm not really here. And then the world goes back to moving. But I will say that the only reason I don't think he's a figment of John's imagination is because Zed saw pennies from heaven.
Right. Like he said to John, like different people see different things or something to that effect.
Yeah.
When like the presence of the divine or something like that's around.
Yes.
Well, then I would argue that she's connected with John, so whatever John is seeing, it could be just filtered into her psychically.
Sure.
You know, it's a whole network, the psychic network, and she's tapped in. She can flow through it as she will.
Did you write down that quote, or did you just
I didn't.
remember
I
it?
just remembered it.
Yeah.
Well, after this training session, I put that in air quotes in the park, Zed and Consti go back to the mill house, and they see that someone's broken in. But right before that, they ask where Chaz is, and he's off getting the taxi fixed. Took him like 3 episodes, still not fixed. Ridiculous.
Could be some sort of issue with the
alternator.
Yeah, or like the battery.
Totally, yeah.
Maybe
I hear dead batteries are a common occurrence. And
maybe it's the ignition.
It may have been that they got T-boned, remember, in the first episode?
Oh, yeah.
That could have been it.
He also ran it into an electrical box,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's true. The car's having some hard times.
Whatever. The point is, Zed, apparently she is a bitter. She is a bit of everything.
Yeah.
She has precognition, retrocognition, and clairtangents. Yeah. I wrote them down because I was like, I don't think those are real things.
Yeah.
Right?
The first two make sense to me.
Yeah. Precognition, I've heard of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Retrocognition, okay, I can allow it.
Yeah, you see the
Right.
past that you've never experienced.
Right. Clairtangents, as in like clairvoyant tangents. Clairtangents.
Oh, I thought it was. I interpreted it as she has clairvoyance, like anything that she touches, like anything that's tangible. She has clairvoyance over.
Oh, okay.
That was my interpretation.
That makes sense.
Okay.
She
That
can
makes
see
sense.
when she touches things.
Clairtangents, which makes sense because later we have a psychic transference with Gary.
Yes.
Let's talk about Gary.
Why don't we?
Yeah, so we meet Gary at the beginning of the episode as he arrives in Atlanta. And he gets, randomly selected for...
He was kind of sweating pretty fierce there.
Yeah. He didn't look suspicious at all.
Yeah, a 5-year-old is like, everything to declare? Like, why you're sweating so much?
Right.
Yeah, I thought that the TSA agent would have been like, or the customs agent would have been like, you feeling okay, sir?
Yeah.
No, instead they just pull him into a private room for an interrogation.
Yeah.
And he looked fine once he got into that room.
He probably had the AC on.
Oh, yeah.
Good call.
Yeah.
And the airport security guard releases accidentally a demon.
Yeah. Well, you know that's going to happen. Like, the minute someone says, like, don't look over there, like, you look over there, and he's like, well, don't open that thing. And he's like, yeah, I'll open it.
Well, he didn't even
Yeah.
open it. He picked it up and then dropped it. Well, dude, that thing looks expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be careful
Didn't
with
say
it.
it was
bottle.
an
Right?
ancient artifact, or he called it some sort of relic or something like
Ridiculous.
that. Yeah. No respect, that guy.
Well, we find out that Gary had come from Sudan, where he found a man who had containment markings on him. And Gary felt the need to, help this poor guy who couldn't speak because his tongue was cut out.
Oof, yeah, that was rough.
Yeah. And he lets the demon out of him.
How kind of him, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
I mean, Gary.
Poor Gary.
I mean, you understand, because, as the episode goes on, you find out that he was part of the whole Newcastle group, who everyone came back from that venture messed up. Yeah. And so he was like, it's my time to shine. I'm going to do some good.
Yeah.
And it turns out his good deed went horribly punished.
I mean, what is it? The road to hell is paved with good intentions?
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Yeah. That's the phrase.
Oh, nice.
I hope that
Thanks.
comes up in the
Nice.
show.
Yeah.
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 My dad says that to me all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Constantine is like, all right, I'll clean up your mess, Gary. And he gets a flask. It looks like a flask, a glass flask, and he carves the Seal of Solomon with the Tabaat Shlomo, which is, I want everyone to know, correct Hebrew.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, it actually does mean the Rings of Solomon.
Nice.
Cool.
Solomon's name in Hebrew is Shlomo. So, so excited. That was really exciting. And then he enchants it, and I want everyone to know that I have no idea what he said to enchant it because that Hebrew was terrible.
Well, one word is correct. He said Elohim, which is like a name for God.
Which is God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was like the only word I understood in the whole thing.
I only caught the last word, which was darkness.
Okay.
So yeah, God and darkness. That's all we need, guys.
So there were more words. I just don't think they
It
were.
was Jesus, please trap this darkness. I think that's the direct translation.
Elohim is not a
I
word
was
for Jesus.
just making it up. I don't know.
Just want to clarify
Okay.
that.
Don't you know Isaac is a Hebrew expert?
Scholar.
Come on.
Challenge. I challenge you.
You can take the
What
box.
do you got?
Objection.
Okay.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Okay. I was just throwing it out there. I'll take a stab.
Well, the demon who I felt for because he was a hunger demon. He spent the demon's thing was to go around and stuff his face.
Yeah, Nemoth or Nemoth or it's like an M.
Yeah, Nemoth.
Yeah,
Nemoth.
I think it's just
Nemoth.
Nemoth.
Oh.
You don't actually pronounce the N.
Yeah, it's like the P in pneumonia. Many things that precede an N are invisible to the naked mouth.
What?
Yeah.
So I write that down.
Okay. Whatever.
Yeah.
The demon liked to eat. I understood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt it.
This is possibly which was cool, like one of the grossest episodes at this point.
Yeah.
Like specifically biting the face off, which was like,
Oh yeah.
oh man.
Well, we've talked about it in previous episodes that this show is, Constantine is a dark comic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the show, we want it to get darker.
Yeah, and it
it
is.
has.
Yeah.
And there was the moral ambiguity
I loved it.
in the ending, which we will get to.
Yeah, sure.
But it was a really interesting demon. I feel like when it started, I was like, oh, like maybe we're gonna get the 7 sins, the 7 deadly sins.
Oh, yeah.
This would be like gluttony.
Right.
Right.
Oh, what an interesting idea.
That'd be great. Wait, what have we had so far? Never mind. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, no, I don't
Well, I
think we've had
mean, we kind of had, right?
that. I saw it as like possibly some sort of I don't know, this might be too, but it maybe some sort of comment on consumerism or something like that. Like you're never satisfied, always never satiated. You have to have the next best thing.
We're
Even
all
if you have
hunger
the iPhone
demons.
6, you have to have the bigger
Yeah.
6 Plus or whatever. And then the 7, the instant it comes out. So it's kind of you're never satisfied. I just saw some of that in
Way
there
to
maybe.
make this show so much deeper than it is. Yeah.
These were the thoughts I had. I don't know.
That's what
I
it's
like
all
it.
about, seeing meaning in things.
I hope there's some meaning in this show.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, in that vein, the show was really good about setting up its themes, especially at the beginning with Zed being oh, I've never done drugs, and then it
Yeah, that's cool.
the through line kind of goes through
Yeah.
about addiction and all that stuff.
Well, in this episode, from what I understand, is pretty much ripped directly from Hellblazer 1.
Yeah.
Almost panel for panel, which is really cool.
Nice.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
What also was really cool was when Zed would touch Gary.
Right.
And this goes to the clairtension.
Claire Tangents.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where she could not only see what he saw, feel what he felt, but she really took on everything, including his withdrawal,
Right.
which sucks, but it's so cool that she can do that,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all the low, none of the high, though, also, as Constantine
Yeah.
points out.
which is so sad.
Yeah.
I mean, not that
Yeah,
she
well,
should
yeah,
whatever, but
of course, we're
that
not
is
advocating
the
for any of
worst.
that.
Right.
kind of
I mean,
thing.
yeah, and I think that is better. Because if you actually do experience the high, then then she has the risk of wanting it. Whereas it's just
True.
oh, I've experienced the lows and I never want it ever in the history of ever.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm sad for her. Yeah. Because in addition to the withdrawal, she felt the guilt and the pain and the sorrow and everything that Gary's going through.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just this low of withdrawal; it was this low of depression.
Right.
Yeah. Of
Yeah.
course, it gives her some more insight into, John with Astra. She still
Yeah.
wants to know about that. And we're still getting pieces
Oh
of
yeah, we got lots of pieces.
that story.
Yeah.
But
But I want to talk about Zed sees through Gary, the man that he found in Sudan that he helped. I put air quotes on that. And so she draws out the markings, which lets Constantine know that these Hebrew prayers not going to help.
Right.
But I will say his Hebrew in the meat locker was great.
Okay.
It was very good.
Good to know.
I can't speak for the other languages he did, so I can't tell you if they were good or, because he does a lot of different languages. I just thought, I appreciated.
No, as a fan, like, you want to hear like how accurate things are.
Yeah.
Like, he's not just making stuff up left and right.
Right, which makes me think that all the other languages he does, he probably isn't making that up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think one of our commenters, whom I do not remember, but I will look up and maybe give you a shout out at some point. But like, I know one of them was basically listing out the different languages he was using in the pilot episode.
Right.
So it was like, I think there was some Sanskrit, there was something else which I do not remember.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, his English is also pretty good. Say that, man.
I would, yeah.
I don't know. He's speaking pretty Britishy.
Yeah, what's up with
I don't know
that?
what that means. It means nothing.
Careful. There was a whole discussion about his accent.
Yeah, no, there's been several discussions about like his accent.
Oh, really?
Where he's from. Like,
Yeah, because Constantine is supposed to be English.
Yeah.
Whereas Matt Ryan is Welsh.
Yeah, and even
they're all British. Please don't get mad at me.
Yeah, sorry. Well, and there's even some debate about like how like Welsh his accent is and all that stuff,
Right.
which I guess is important. Like, is he like a? I should probably say wrong, like Scoozer, and I have no idea.
I
But
mean,
like, there's a lot of debate on his accent, which
Yes.
I'm like, I'm just into the show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're silly Americans. Please don't.
yeah. We don't know these things. I probably said Scoozer, Scouser, Rouser.
He's a browser.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Okay. So we go and meet the shaman, Nomo. Got his name right, guys. Who takes Constantine on a trip.
Yeah, quite a trip. Yeah.
Quite a trip. Which this goes back to what you were saying about the different, the drugs, really. This episode was all about drugs.
Yep.
Don't do them, do them. Drugs.
Yeah.
We got all the messages tonight.
Yeah.
And in this vision, he sees the containment demon. He sees what the original shaman did to the man that Gary met.
Right.
And he understands that the only thing to do about this is to contain the demon within someone and use a kusa knife to contain it.
Yeah.
That is the only solution.
So that it'll consume that person and then consume itself, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think at this point, Constantine's like, I got this. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's like, all right, I know someone who's perfect for this.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, they kind of go into like when Constantine's talking to Zed initially about like Gary and like their friendship is like basically just used him for his car.
Right, because Gary was part of the crew that had money. He was the only one who had the money.
Yeah.
His dad had a lot of money, and therefore he just, he like bought friends.
Yeah.
He wanted, Constantine used him, and yes.
Oh, I was going to let you finish your thing.
That was it.
Okay. But I want to talk about his groupie group, and how and I kind of, part of me wants a flashback to before the Newcastle incident, because it feels like he was this rock star who was just going around exercising and being super awesome. So he gathered a following, and then that incident just destroyed everything. And so now it made the person that we have now.
Well, I think what Gary says is that Constantine was a rock star, that everyone just wanted to be around him.
Yeah.
And so when he was like, I'm going to Newcastle, I'm going to go do this thing, people are like, oh, can we come? And he's like, yeah, you have a car.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think you're right. And I do want to see I would love to see a flashback. I'd love to see how we got to where we are.
Yeah.
I want answers about Newcastle.
Yeah. Well, that's, it's for us, like being a rock star. That's also like why he's like no longer a master of the dark arts. Like that was probably part of his like ego, and that's why he took that off his business card.
Right.
Because he's a dabbler.
Yeah. Well, now he's a dabbler because he's just like he thought he was,
Yeah.
Hot
awesome,
stuff.
and then he's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I think is awesome? When people go onto iTunes and rate and review our show.
You don't say.
I do think that's awesome.
Okay.
Guys, we like talking about this show.
We do.
We like discussing and arguing and telling you what's good Hebrew and what isn't, and telling and hearing from you about what's a good accent and what isn't. We do appreciate that. But we also appreciate one very simple thing that we ask you to do. Go onto iTunes, rate and review us. If you like our show, which we hope you do, give us 5 stars. If you don't like our show, that's okay. We forgive you. We'll accept 4 stars. But also leave a comment. Let us know what we can be doing better, what we're doing well, what you thought of Constantine's Hebrew. Let us know. That's all we ask. Also, tweet at us because we enjoy it.
Yeah.
And comment on YouTube's. I was going to say YouTunes. But on the YouTube, which is where we have these discussions. So please, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to finish the story real quick and then talk about Newcastle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the shaman and Constantine figure out what they have to do. And Constantine's like, great, I'm going to go and find the knife. But first, he goes back to get Gary. And Gary has drugged, basically, Zed.
Yeah.
By touching her. He's given her a serious withdrawal.
Yeah, well, he can give her his withdrawal, which
Right.
we saw earlier, but he
made
figured it out, so
worse.
he touched her for a long time, I guess.
I love Constantine's jokes of the
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
touched each other. Keep your hands to yourself.
Yeah.
I
He
love
touched.
it.
Yeah, that's funny.
I absolutely love that. I like that he's feeling a little possessive of Zed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little
Well,
jealous.
And they're not playing that up in this, but another point from the comics is that in the comics, Zed and Constantine were former lovers, but they haven't done this on this show, but
Right.
maybe
Hopefully
they're going
they are lovers.
So future lovers. Then.
Yeah.
future lovers, maybe, yeah.
That'd be great.
Future lovers. That's what they are.
You can keep going.
Nah, man.
Well, Gary and Constantine finds Gary. He's trying to buy drugs. And Constantine trades the magic, amazing drugs that he got from Nomo to these drug dealers.
Oh, right. Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, where did he get that? And like, oh, yeah, the one he just tripped
Yeah.
balls
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
I was like, no.
I don't know. It was pretty freaky.
But he technically just trapped those guys into an eternal drug trip.
Yeah.
True, yeah, he had to be woken out of it with whatever the guy put in his mouth.
Yeah, so he killed them.
Basically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
On an amazing trip.
Yeah. Well, Constantine is a manipulator. We can see this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then he takes Gary and they go to a bar because that's what you do with a friend who's going through withdrawal. Take him to a bar.
Totes.
Totally.
And there we get more information about Newcastle, which we'll get to in a bit. But Gary and Constantine realize what they have to do. They have to go and steal a Kusa knife, and they have to go to the theater where the demon is. They go and get the Kusa knife. That's where we see Manny again. He freezes time. And all he does this time is be like, are you sure?
you sure?
You are
Yes.
useless. Useless for
Yeah.
an angel. So frustrating.
Because he's imaginary. He's the Jiminy Cricket of Constantine. He just comes out and he's like, hey, you want to make a bad decision? He's like, I'm going to make it anyway. Sounds good.
Yeah.
But Jiminy
right.
Cricket wasn't a figment of his imagination.
He was a nag.
He was the conscience.
Yes. But I'm still saying.
Sure.
What I like was the security guard's little shimmy there.
dance?
Although I thought,
Yes.
appropriately, since we have like some sort of like demon-possessed people, it should have been the Thriller dance. Should it not have been?
Oh, that would have been really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better than Vogue or Madonna or whatever he was doing there.
I really like that as long as the music's playing and it's the alarm. It's like he hypnotized him.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I'd have liked to seen that. That would have been cool.
I know. I agree. I think that would have been much more interesting. That actually seeing him dance would be his.
No, the dance was cool. I appreciate that. That actor worked hard to get that spot. He had to audition for that. You know it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Show me your plie.
Yeah.
That sounded like the casting couch. It was very uncomfortable.
Yeah. It came out that way.
Yeah. Well, it seems that Gary is going to be sacrificed to the demon, and he's okay with that because he's putting his life to use.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I guess you said something about moral ambiguity, but like
Yeah.
that's like another. I mean, I guess it's like a trait we're seeing of Constantine so far is that he kind of manipulates people, but like I felt a little. I mean, I guess I liked that it was ambiguous, but I felt a little weird about it. Like I don't really like him for.
Yeah.
Like conning him into like initial friendship from using his car, and then like he messed up, but he knew that he was on drugs. and then seeing him later be like, yeah, come with me, like we're gonna go save the thing, and by that I mean you.
Yeah.
Like, which is like, he said like we can flip a coin or we can draw straws or something like that, but like no, his intention the whole time was that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And like, I'm glad that they actually went through with it. Like, part of me thought that like it may have backed away from him,
Right.
Sacrificing his friend, like maybe trying to find another way. But just, you knew where it was going from that conversation in the bar where he's like, you know what I say, people change. And he's like, you never say that. And it's like, yeah, because that was to me going, Gary is always going to be a junkie going on from here. And he's acknowledging it, Constantine's acknowledging it, and they're both realizing that like the only place that he has left to go is down.
Right.
So he might as well use his body in a way that can help someone.
yeah.
I mean, by all intents and purposes, he unleashed this upon this town.
Yeah, he was trying to do something good, I guess. But yeah, I don't mind the character of Gary making that sacrifice. But and I also, I mean, I guess I like that it's sort of gray with Constantine too. But it's kind of like, oh, I'm not really sure if I like that, you know?
Yeah.
I
Like in a
agree.
good way, you know?
Yeah. And I think that Zed is supposed to be kind of our voice.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
In
yeah.
that we bring, Constantine brings Gary as the containment vessel back to the house, and she's angry, understandably.
Yeah, she asked the questions that we
Right.
want to ask to him.
Yeah.
And Constantine says, like, if you can't handle it, then leave. I told you that people around me die. I told you this is what was going to happen. And she's like, what do we do? Dun, dun, dun.
Right.
And they take him down into I believe I understood that this was down the hall underneath with the doors. That's what's in the hall of doors.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Because
Yeah.
she says, what room? And he says, downstairs, end of the hall on the left or right or whatever. So
Right.
I took it to mean that that's what's down there, are his sins or his victims or.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Because I remember last time he says, I'm not ready to deal with that.
Yeah.
Or he's like, she's not ready for that or something like that.
No, I think he said that he wasn't
Yeah.
ready.
He's like,
okay.
even I'm not ready to.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Because he says downstairs, down the hall. Like, is that it? I may be reading into that. Hopefully,
I think-
fans don't
But
get
I
mad.
want that. I
Yeah.
want it
Yeah,
to
I
be
want
a
that to
thing.
be a
That's
thing, yeah.
it's really just where his friends that are possessed or whatever are living and or dying.
Yeah.
I wonder if any of the other Newcastle group is down there.
Right? Well, then in the last scenes, we see Manny there.
Yeah.
And it looked like Manny was praying for Gary.
Yeah.
I thought maybe Manny was there to take the soul because I had said before that maybe he has something to do with death.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was assuming
Yeah.
too.
But, yeah.
And I just love that John Constantine was holding his hand the whole time.
Well, because
Yeah.
he hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does care for his friend. Also, like a little bit of a moment from Manny where he like actually seems helpful for like once. Or at
Was
least- Well, he's there. I mean, I don't know that he's like being the most helpful, but
Right.
he's been less helpful before, I guess.
Yeah. All right, let's talk
If that
about
makes any sense.
Newcastle.
Yeah.
We get information about Newcastle. Gary tells us that.
Talking about the beverage, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, the terrible,
hops and barley and all that
terrible
stuff.
football team.
There's no such thing.
The town in northern England.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So Newcastle, we find out that the crew just wanted to work with Constantine. That Astra was possessed and that she was the child of a friend. And they went there because a child of a friend was possessed, and it's Astra. And then we find out that apparently Gary was high the entire time, which apparently everyone knew.
Yeah. Well, if he looked anything like he did at the airport,
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of easy to tell.
And that he hid when it started to go bad, and then he just ran afterwards.
Right.
What do you guys think? This is all the information we got in this episode.
Right.
And you add that to what we know in the past, which was that Constantine called another demon to make a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
And-
demon took them both.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually felt like it was all stuff that I had known previously, just because, like, it was our way. Because when he first started talking about Newcastle, I was like, Zed knows this, but no, she doesn't.
she doesn't.
The last girl knew it,
Liv.
Liv, yeah.
So they had to kind of bring her up to speed. Gary being high was no surprise.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think that we will continue as we meet more of Constantine's friends. We'll get more information about Newcastle. Do you think we'll eventually get important information?
Certainly hope so. It'd be nice.
I mean, I'm hoping that it turns out to be something more elaborate, like him calling that demon was a part of someone's plan, or it was the first step in something bigger. Like him calling that demon awoke this rising darkness or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
So I assume they'll start connecting it to more things as we go along, and you'll find out it was either like a linchpin or something that was essentially orchestrated from the beginning.
And that it wasn't his fault, or that he did it on purpose?
That it wasn't his fault. I don't think he did anything on purpose, but more that like he is a pawn in someone else's scheme.
Right.
Oh yeah, that'd be really interesting.
Interesting. I could see him being a pawn in Manny's scheme.
Yeah.
So I don't trust Manny.
Manny's playing him somehow if he even exists, I guess.
Ugh, Manny. All right. I think that covers this episode. I know that we have some exciting news and gossip.
Some exciting news.
AFTERBUZZ TV News.
I don't know if you call both of them news or gossip. I guess they're both news. I don't
Well,
know.
before you tell us your news, because mine's not even actual news. It's kind of news. I read a headline. I didn't have a chance to read the article, guys. The headline is that we may find out more about Chaz and that he is not immortal.
Yeah.
Which I didn't read the article, so I can't speak to what it said. But like, if he's not immortal, how is he still alive?
Maybe he's an angel.
Oh, aren't angels immortal?
I mean,
don't think so.
I think you can kill an angel, but beyond that, like, there's a difference between being an immortal human and then a celestial.
Okay. I was going with, for anybody who watched Witches of East End before it got canceled, sadly,
bummer.
Aunt Wendy, she had 9 lives because she also could become a cat. So I really hope Chaz is a cat. I'm going to throw that out there. Yeah, cats.
I'm going to say he's not a cat.
Okay. Now some actual news. Isaac?
Just some news on the ratings. This last episode was the second highest rated episode of Constantine.
Nice.
I mean, like the pilot had 4.2 million. This one had 3.4. But episode 2 and 3, like it's been ramping up. So if you're loving the show like we are, keep telling your friends because then maybe we'll get a second season or the rest of season 1, I guess.
Right.
That's really interesting because I heard the opposite about the ratings. I heard that the first episode was okay, and then it went down, and then the last episode was the highest.
Yeah, that's kind of what I said.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Were you here?
I wasn't listening.
Okay.
I was thinking about Chaz being a cat.
Okay, good. When speaking of the second season, that's a segue in there. If you see that.
Yeah.
Liv, Lucy Griffith may be coming back if there is a season 2.
Oh.
There was a story, I never remember where I read these things, but David Goyer, executive producer for this show and writer of some good movies, and some pretty good movies, said that they had always sort of intention to leave that open for her character to come back because they had created her, and one of the reasons that they replaced her with Zed was because they felt like they didn't write the character strong enough, and since Zed was already a character in the show or in the comic, that they would bring her in, but they hopefully want to bring her back, which would be great for Lucy Griffith because I thought she was great on the pilot.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that is awesome, especially because we've talked about on the after show, I think on the first episode, we talked about how great it would be
To see her back.
to see her back and to see where she went and what she did.
Yeah, and it'll also be great to know that we're going to get a season 2.
Yeah, that'd also be amazing.
Yeah.
But they're saying that she'll only be back if there's a season 2?
Yeah, from what I read, it seemed like it was that way.
So okay.
Whenever we get that news.
All those predictions are now gone. Awesome. On that note, let's head into predictions.
Yeah.
Your
How does she do
AFTERBUZZ
it?
TV
Magic.
predictions.
Sorcery.
Yeah. So speaking of sorcery, next episode we get the return of Papa Midnight.
Yes.
Apparently, he's accidentally sending people on a killing spree because his magic is malfunctioning because there's another force working against him. Therefore, he must team up with Constantine. That's what we see in the promo. On that note, predictions?
Well, it's more of like a hopeful prediction. And with the character of Manny, like I like the actor Harold Perning. I'm not sure how to say his last name, but anyway, he's one of my favorite actors. I don't know why I don't know how to say his name. I've loved him in Lost and Romeo and Juliet. He was really good in that. Anyhow,
yeah.
I hope to see more of him because I feel like we do get him for like 4 scenes and little bits and pieces. And I'd like to know a whole lot more about him. So I will predict boldly that we will see a lot of his backstory in the next episode.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
I'll make that claim.
I have to start by saying I'm so excited that Papa Midnight is coming back. I think 2 episodes ago, I was like, I want him to join the team.
Yeah.
And now I hope he does. Though, I mean...
It was last episode that we met him.
Was it? No, it wasn't.
It was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
We met him last episode.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, super excited.
Yeah.
And I assume the moment he becomes friends with John... which they're going to become besties.
Okay.
He'll probably immediately die because anyone who's friends with John Constantine
Ends up
dies.
dead. Yeah. I'm going to say I'm really glad that Papa Midnight is back. I don't think we're going to get any backstory next week. I think they're going to
Why? You got to kill him a dream.
I'm predicting that they're going to push it as far off as they can.
I hope not.
Until we get all the backstory stories of Newcastle and pre-Newcastle and where Papa Midnight came from.
Right.
That's what I think.
I just hope they splice it in. I just want to see that actor more. He's great. He's a series regular, and we don't see him that often.
Yeah.
He's a series regular?
I believe so.
That's great news. That's great.
He should be. The guy's been in enough stuff. He should be a series regular.
Yeah, Papa Midnight's important.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, I'm talking about Manny. Manny's a regular, and we don't see him that often.
Yeah. Whatever. Awesome. Isaac, tell the people at home where they can find you online.
You can find me on Twitter at Isaac Johnson, Instagram, The Isaac Johnson, and also YouTube, The Isaac Johnson. You can check out a music video that I have and a short.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tauri Miller.
You can find me on Twitter at TauriJ, that's TaurijAY. You can also find me on Facebook, facebook.com/TauriJMiller.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jay spelled out?
Yes.
Awesome. And of course, you can find me online at yael.tv. That's yael.tv. There you'll find info about all the other shows I do here and other good stuff. I also do the SVU show. That's right, SVU. Amazing. And Grim. And many others. Also, Twitter. I'm doing a Twitter giveaway. Check it out. Yael Tygiel, YAELTYGIEL. And we will see you next week for more Constantine.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.